Let's start our knees today. We'll tuck those toes, or we'll flatten our feet underneath of us, and our butts will sit just right on our heels. Pull the shoulders back, close our eyes. Breathe in and out. A few times, in through our nose, out from our mouths. With those exhales, maybe we feel the shoulders relax away from our ears. Our ribs expand on the inhales. And we bring our thoughts and focus inward so that we can pay attention to what our body is telling us it needs today. And then we'll seal our lips, inhale and exhale through our nose. Good. And then right here, we'll stay hips over the heels. We'll just kind of play with our pelvic tilt here. So first we're going to tuck that tail, begin to open up that low back. Maybe we bring the shoulders forward, a little bit of a round. And then as we inhale, we'll lengthen in the spine, lift the heart, and then we'll tilt the pelvis forward as if we're spilling it out over our knees. Little arch in the back. And then exhale, tilt and round. Good. Inhale, little arch. Lift the heart. Good. And then exhale, let's round again. And then we'll bring those hands forward and we'll just continue to lower our chest down toward our mats into our child's pose. Take a breath or two here. And then inhale, we'll begin to roll our way back up. Hands can come back to our thighs. Pull the shoulders back. Once we get nice and tall, hands will come back behind our hips. Lift our chest. And then we'll begin to lift the hips up off of the heels. Exhale. Butts come back down. We'll lift those hands up and we'll come forward again into our child's pose. And then inhale, coming on up. Again, pull the shoulders back. Lift the heart, tuck the tail, lift the hips. And then exhaling down. All the way into our child's pose. Good. From here, let's open up those knees really wide in our child's pose. Toes are still touching, knees are wide, butts are low, chests are sinking down. Good. And from here, let's walk the hands over to the left, reaching across the body with that right hand. Use our fingers to just creepy crawl across, opening up that side body, sinking the hips down toward those heels. Good. And now from here, right hand, we're going to turn palm up and lower that right shoulder down onto our mats. Now our butts will come up away from the heels, and that is fine. Left hand will just place on top of the right. And using our breath, we lengthen in that inhale, and we help twist those shoulders open on the exhales. Gently encouraging our body into the twist, never forcing. Good, and then slowly we'll just lower those hips back down, turning the palms toward the earth, and then walking the hands back to the center for child's pose. Take a breath or two here. Hips stay over the heels as we walk the hands over to the right, reaching across the body with that left hand, sinking the hips down toward the heels, reaching across with those arms. Maybe we feel some release in the side body, maybe even in that low back. Good. And then again, we'll turn that left palm up, placing that shoulder onto our mats. Our butts will come up off of our heels. And then the right hand places on top of the left arm in a little thread the needle type twist here. Hips stay over, centered over the knees as we turn those shoulders. And then we'll lower those hips back down, palms turn towards our mat again, and then we'll walk around to the center for our child's pose. Arms are out in front of us, fingers are wide. And now let's begin to pull the shoulders away from the ears. We'll keep that chest and chin nice and low as we slowly slide forward. Like a very, very slow inchworm coming forward. Hands are underneath of our shoulders now. And we'll just come up into a little cobra here. Good. Pressing into those hands. Let's come back to our child's pose. We're going to do that a couple, 3 more times. So child's pose on the exhale, inhale, chest comes forward, all the way up into our little cobra, pulling those shoulders back, lifting the heart, and then exhale, press back to our child's pose. One more time, inhaling, coming forward into our little cobra. Pull the elbows back and then press back. Child's pose, beautiful job. Good. From here, let's tuck those toes underneath of our butt. Stretch out the feetses. Good. And then inhale. Shoulders will come over the hands and we'll bring that right foot up into a little lunge here. We're going to keep this 90-degree angle in our back leg, 90-degree angle in our front legs. We're not doing a very deep lunge today. And then we'll bring those hands up onto that right thigh. Think about lengthening in that low back, lifting the heart, breathing into the belly so that we're supporting the spine. Good. And now we're going to lift those hands up nice and high, reaching for the sky. Right hand will stay up toward the sky. Left hand is going to reach back toward the calf, the ankle. If we would like, we can tuck the toe to maybe help. We'll come into a half camel. Good. Slowly we'll come back up to our little lunge. Again, hands back to that right thigh. Good. And now we're just going to keep our hips pointing toward the top of our mat. We'll turn our shoulders toward the left. Right arm will come to the inside of that right leg. Left hand can come up to the sky. And then slowly both hands come down to our mats. Good. We'll step back, find our child's pose. One breath here. Good. And then coming back up to our tabletop. We'll set ourselves up for our lunge on the other side. So left foot comes forward, right knee is back behind us, bent at a 90-degree. And then we can come up, hands to the thigh as we set ourselves up into this lovely little lunge. Should be pretty easy. As we tuck that tail, we should begin to feel in this right hip flexor a little bit of length. Good. Inhaling, hands come up. Shoulders come down. Nice and tall in the spine. And then exhale. Let's lower that right hand down to the calf, to the ankle or the heel. Good. Inhaling back up high. And then again, hands can come back down to that left thigh. Think about keeping this right hip working forward as we turn the shoulders to the right. Left hand can find the floor to the inside of the leg. Right hand comes up, little twist here. Good. Exhale, both hands come down, finding our mats, stepping back with that left foot. Go all the way back to child's pose. One more time. Good. Fingers are wide, pressing in. We'll come up to a little plank here. Exhale, we'll lower ourselves down. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. Let's inhale to an upward facing dog. Chest will come forward, hips will come forward, and then scooping our way up. Let's tuck those toes, lift the hips, pressing back, and we'll wiggle our way into a downward facing dog, bending the knees, pedaling the feet, pressing into those palms, pulling the shoulders away from the wrists, lifting the hips nice and high. And now let's take a glance at our elbows. Let's spiral those elbows so that the bend comes around and we can see the inside of those elbows toward the tops of our arms as we pull those shoulders back, as opposed to sticking them out to the sides. Good, and then with little steps, we'll walk forward towards our hands, pressing those heels down in towards our mat as we walk. Little tiny steps, all the way to a forward fold. Once we get there, head releases, arms can just hang. And then from here, inhale, hands can come to the shins or our toes, looking forward for a flat back. Lengthen in the legs. Weight is in our toes. Exhale, let's fold forward. Bending those knees, rolling our way up to the sky with those hands. And then exhale, Tadasana. Hands come to our sides. Pull the shoulders back, pressing into those feet. Core and legs are strong. Heart is raising. Good. Inhale. Let's lift the hands up high. We'll bring those hands together here, pressing those palms together, or we can either interlace the fingers, lengthen on the inhale, and then as we exhale, let's tilt over to the right. Like a standing banana pose. Good. Inhale, let's come up to the center. And then exhaling over to the other side. Good. Inhaling up to the sky. We can release the clasp in those hands. Exhale, big circles with the arms. Bringing those thighs together, sitting down into our chair. Good. Inhale, pressing the reverse button all the way up to the sky. And then exhaling down to our chair. Strong chair. Feel that core nice and active as we lift and lower with purpose. Inhaling up. Exhaling down, big circles with those arms, getting the shoulders all lubed up. Inhaling up one more time. And now exhaling down into our chair. We'll hold chair. Good, let's bring those arms back behind us. And then up to the top. And now from here, we'll just go straight down into a forward fold. Lowering the arms, releasing the head. Good. And now a little IT band work here. We'll keep our right hand on the floor, keeping those knees bent so that that palm can stay onto the floor, bending that right knee really, really, really deeply. And now on the other side, on that left side, we'll begin to lengthen this left leg. Lift the hip up to the sky, reaching that left hand to the sky. Beautiful. Exhale. Let's come back down, bending both knees into our fold. And then we'll go over to that right side. So bending that left knee, left hand stays onto our mats, lengthening the right, pulling the right hip up toward the sky, reaching the hand. Stacking the shoulders as best we can, lengthening in our neck, as well as in our leg. Beautiful. Next exhale, let's release back down to our forward fold. Inhale, let's come to a flat back, long legs. Exhale, we fold. Let's step back with our left leg to a full lunge. Good. And we'll step back with the right for downward facing dog. Pedal the feet if we need. Lengthen in the back. Good. Inhale. Let's come forward into a plank, either on our toes or on our knees, pressing into those hands so we can open up those shoulders. Tuck the tail. Exhale. Chests come forward. Elbows go back. We lower down, all in one big strong piece. Good. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. Inhale to an upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, press back for a downward facing dog. Good. From here, looking forward, bending the knees. We can step or hop to the top of our mat for a fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold a little bit deeper. Good. Inhale, rolling our way up to the sky, reaching with our hands, pressing into our feet. Good. Exhale, let's sit down into our chair. Good, strong chair. Good. From here, keeping those knees looking forward, keeping the hips looking forward. We're just going to take our left hand and reach it back behind. Begin to look toward those fingers without turning our knees, keeping the knees forward. Good. Back up to the top. And exhale over to the other side. Right hand goes back. And up to the top. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Good. And now this time, we're just going to keep our hands over this right foot. We'll step behind with the left, crossing our feet. Weight is in our toes. Hands can come to the ground if we need, if we've got a block, or we can come to the shins. folding and breathing. Good, and then we'll uncross the legs, come back to our fold. And we'll move over to the other side, so we'll move our hands from the right foot over to the left foot. Right foot steps back behind. Lengthen in that back. And then exhale, let's fold forward. Good, and then we'll unwind those legs. Folding deeply. Good, inhale to a flat back. One more time we fold. Let's step back with that right foot into our lunge. Good, and then we'll step back with the left for downward facing dog, and we'll flow through our vinyasa. Inhaling forward into our plank. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, we scoop our way up to upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. Looking forward, bending the knees. Let's step or hop to the top of our mat into a fold. Good, inhale, flat back. Exhale, we fold. Bending the knees, rounding as we rise all the way up. Nice and slow. No head rushes here. Hands are high. Exhale, little back bend here. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, let's fold forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold, stepping back with that left foot, but only about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way. Get out your ruler and really make sure that that's exact. We're going to lower down that left heel. Those toes are pointed at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to bend that right knee and come up to warrior one. So both hips are facing forward. Right knee is bent. Back is long, core is strong. Hands can come up high, or we can bend them to our heart, or a little Evita style, or any combination of. Good, and now let's bring those hands either to our thigh or to our hips. Let's really think about those hips, though, facing forward as we lengthen that right leg. Both the hips are facing towards the top of our mat, and then we hinge at those hips. Flat back as we slowly fold forward into pyramid. Hands can come to our thigh. We skip the knee. We can come down to the shin or maybe to the ground. Whatever we do, we don't crater in that back or in the hips. Good. And then gently we'll bend that right knee and we'll come back up to our warrior one. Good. From here, I'm going to have to move. From here, keeping that right knee bent, pressing that left heel back behind us. Arms will reach back behind. Chest will come forward as if we're about to take off. Good. Let's shift our weight all the way into that right leg. We'll begin to lift up the left for warrior three. Beautiful. Let's see how good we are. Keeping that strong core. We'll begin to stand up tall, bringing that left knee forward, and we can hug it into our chest here. We can even hold it with our hands if we would like. Good. Let's take that right hand. We'll touch the outside of the left knee, and we'll do a little twist over to the left. Fantastic. Coming back to the center. Hands can come to our hearts. We'll step that left leg all the way back for a high lunge. Beautiful job. Hands can come down. We'll step back, downward facing dog. If we need to give it a little wiggle, we surely can. Inhale forward into our plank. Plank is strong here. I'm going to hold this plank for just a little bit. Lengthen that back. Tummy is strong. Excellent. And now, chest will come forward. Elbows stay back as we slowly lower our way down. Good. Soften the feet underneath of us. Hands will stay underneath of our shoulders here as we inhale to an upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, press back for downward facing dog. And now let's lift that left leg up high. We'll step forward. And then we'll hop that right foot forward just a little bit so we can work our way up into our warrior one on this side. Pulling that right hip forward. Tucking the tail. Bending that left knee. Finding our way on this side. Good. And now hands can come to our hearts or to our hips as we lengthen that left leg. Pull that right hip forward and then hinge at the hips, keeping our chests working forward. Hands can come to the thigh or to the shin. Chests are still working forward before it goes down. Now let's check our hips. Pull that right hip forward. Good. And now let's bend that left knee. Find our warrior one again, lifting those hands up high. Let's press into that right heel. Arms will go back. Chest will come forward as if we're going to take off. I am speed. Good. And then shifting the weight into that left foot. Lifting the right for warrior three. Doing our best to lengthen all the way in that left leg out of that hip socket, pulling the shoulders back. And now let's see if we can, I'm trying to look and talk at the same time. See if we can pull that right hip down so that we have level hips. Good. And then I'll stop talking. We'll lift that chest. Right leg will come forward. Can hug that knee in toward our chest. Little twist to the right. Let's take that left hand to the right knee. Right hand reaches back behind us. Continue to lengthen and twist. Breathing and smiling. Beautiful. Coming back to the center. Hands come to our hearts. Stepping all the way back. High lunge. Beautiful. Hands come down. Let's step back. Downward dog. Inhale, forward. Exhale, down. I won't torture you this time. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lifting that heart, lengthening the neck, tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog. Now let's just walk those feet about halfway forward. We'll walk the hands backwards to meet the feet into a forward fold at the center of our mat. We'll open up those feet a little bit wider, toes point to the corners, and we'll come down into our Malasana Squat. Take this right hand, we can keep it to the inside of the knees. We can either touch our shin or touch the ground as we lift up the left for a little twist. If we are happy here, we stay here. If we would like to try a bind, we can take this right hand, elbow still stays to the inside. We're gonna keep circling the hand around. We'll circle the left hand around and we'll try and grab those hands behind us. All while staying in the squat and not falling down. One more breath here. And then we'll gently release back to the center, lengthen that back. And then we'll move over to the other side. Left hand stays to the inside. Right hand comes up to the sky. And again, if you would like to try that bind, circling those hands around. Releasing those hands, coming back to the center. And now hands will come down to the ground. We can lower ourselves to our mat, swishing those feet around to the front. Give those little toeses a little wiggle. Oh. Good. Beautiful. Let's bring those feet out in front of us. Toes point to the sky. Walking the hips back. Let's do a little forward fold here. Lengthen in the back. And we can even just walk those hands down our legs, bringing the chest forward. Slowly we'll help ourselves back up to the top. We'll keep this right knee long, or right leg long. We'll bend the left knee, hugging it in towards our chest. And then what we'll do is we will cross that foot over the right thigh. Using that right hand, we'll hug the knee into our chest. Good, tall spine here. Lengthen on that inhale. Exhale, let's twist to the left. Hand can come back behind our butt. Give it as an extension to the spine. So it's, our arm is touching our spine, keeping it strong and tall. Good, and then we'll slowly unwind back to the center. If you would like, we can go all the way around to the right for a little counter twist here. And we'll come back to the center. We're going to bring our focus to this left leg. So we're just going to lift that foot up, and we're going to try and put that foot into the crook of our elbow here. And then the other arm will come around, put the knee in the crook of the other elbow, holding our hands together. And then, again, nice tall back. If this is too much for you, we can always go into our figure 4 by using our right leg. If you need to challenge yourself a little bit, we can begin to lower back towards our back. See if I can do it today. And then we can release. If we are laying down, we can help ourselves up. We can either try and do it holding the leg or not. Give ourselves a little bit of a shake and a wiggle. And then we'll keep this left leg nice and long. We'll bend the right knee, hug it in towards us. Find our sitting bones, and then we'll cross that right leg over the left, hugging it with that left arm. About a tall back here. Right hand can come back behind our hips. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we twist to the right. Nice deep twist in our spine. Maybe we'll get a little bit of an outer hip or glute stretch as well. And then slowly we'll release around. Again, if we would like to do a counter twist all the way around to the left, we can absolutely do that. And then back to the center. And we'll set ourselves up for Cradle the Baby. So we'll lift up that right foot. We'll pop it into the crook of the elbow. Knee goes into the crook of the opposite elbow. Hug that buddy tight in towards us. Good. And then if we've laid back, let's help ourselves back up to the top. We'll release that right leg. We'll give ourselves a little bit of a wiggle. We can even do little windshield wipers with those legs. Good. And then we'll roll up into our little ball. And we'll rock back onto our backs, hugging those knees tightly into us. Good. And now let's inhale, lifting the feet and the hands up to the sky. We can relax those shoulders and our heads, wiggle our fingers and our toes, roll around in those wrists and ankles, flex and point. Get rid of all of that spare wiggle energy we may have. And then inhale, lengthen, reaching the fingers, reaching with the legs. And then exhale, slowly, slowly, we lower our arms and legs down to our mats. Once we reach the ground, we make ourselves as long as we can, reaching with the fingers, pressing with the heels, and then exhaling, letting everything relax. We find ourselves in a comfortable position for our Shavasana. We close our eyes. Soften in our jaw. We take the next few breaths to allow ourselves this time to be still and quiet. If we are ready, it's okay if we're not. Take some more Shavasana. If we are ready, we deepen our breath and we bring gentle movement back in to our bodies, starting with our fingers and our toes, and then our head. And when it is time, we'll bring the knees into our chest and we'll roll over onto our side and help ourselves up to seated. Take this moment to check in with how we are feeling right now. And we'll inhale, lift our hands up to the sky, bringing them together at the top. Exhale them down to our hearts with a purpose. We give ourselves thanks for all of the gifts that we gave ourselves today. A little mental pat on the back for showing up. Remembering that everything that we did here today is more than we would have done if we didn't do it. So good job. I thank you so, so much for joining me, for letting me help you through your practice today. I hope that you feel even just a little bit better than when we started. Wish you all a very, very happy day. The light in the divine in me recognizes and respects the light in the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.